y'all, welcome back to Mrs. Space City, the other half of Space City Cannabis. On this channel, we review edibles, rosin vapes, and pre-rolls. Today, we are completing our 7-part series of how to make an infused tres leches cake. So today is bake day. We're going to be baking off the dry cake, and then we are going to be pouring our tres leches mixture onto the warm cake when we're done. So we're going to start off with the wet ingredients. These are some egg whites. I already have everything ready to go. It's already pre-measured. You do want to do that beforehand. It saves you quite a bit of time just because things need to stay within their temperature. So we're going to start with the egg whites. The egg whites and the egg yolks are separated in this recipe just to make it very light and fluffy at the end. So we're going to start with just the egg whites. We'll pour those in. And then we are just going to beat them until they are fluffy. All right, guys, looks like our egg whites are pretty much done. You can tell when it has stiff peaks. So as you can see, mix it around. See how it stays just like that? That's what you're looking for. So I'm gonna go ahead and transfer this into another bowl, and then we will continue on with the batter. All right, go ahead and refrigerate those egg whites just for the moment, and then we're gonna get started with the rest of the batter. So you'll put your egg yolks, 4 egg yolks in there, along with your butter. You could do infused butter or regular butter. This one is going to be regular butter because I'm actually going to do a different infusion on this one. This is going to be a little special. All right, and then our sugar. And the last thing you're going to add is some Molina's Mexican vanilla. I highly recommend this one. It tastes a little bit different than just your regular vanilla extract. Really, really good. So you guys can pick that up at pretty much any grocery store. They should have it with all of your other vanillas. So this one we're going to cream. I'm going to show you the difference because some people don't do it all the way creamed, where the butter, the egg, everything is really, really nice and fluffy. So really take your time with this part. This is the part that you can't overmix, so don't worry about doing too much. But the more fluffier you get this, the better. So we'll put it up, we'll mix it up, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. All right, guys, so right here is where most people will stop. You can see that the eggs, butter, sugar is all incorporated, but because you want this to be a super light and fluffy cake, we're going to keep going until it's almost like a white hue. You don't want it to look too yellow, so you're looking for just a light color coming up. All right, guys, so right here is what you're looking for, a nice light yellow color. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and add half of the wet ingredients. So this is our mix that's already combined of the 2 milks that I'm going to put in here. It's soy milk and coconut milk. And we're going to do this and the dry ingredients. So we'll do half of this. And then the dry ingredients is going to be your flour, your baking powder, and your salt. So this is already mixed up. I'm going to just start sprinkling it in after we get half of the wet mixture. So half wet, half dry, half wet, half dry, and then you're good to go after that. Now this is a dairy-free and gluten-free cake. So this is the flour that I'm using, gluten-free King Arthur. It's really good. It says 1-to-1 substitute, but I found that it is a little bit more like doughy or bready. So you just have to play with it and kind of see how much of this flour you can substitute for the other one. All right, so you can see it's nicely coming together, and make sure that you have a spatula on hand so that way you can push the sides in. All right, that looks good. Go ahead and get our dry open. I already pre-mixed it, so it makes it super fast to make. So I'll add about half of that. I like to put the mixture right over where I dropped it just to press it down. Make sure you guys preset your oven to 350. Let it preheat and get all the way up to temp. You don't ever want to put a cake or anything that you're baking in a cold oven. It always has to be preheated. So this is looking good. About right here is where I'm going to take my spatula, and I'm just going to go down the sides and press all of that flour in. And as it mixes, make sure that you get the very bottom as well. The very bottom of these KitchenAids have like a little bit of where the sugar starts to pile up. And then I just use the whisk to take it off a little bit. Make sure I get all the way around really, really good. And then just scrape it off with the whisk. Mix that up just a little bit more, and then I'll add the rest of my wet ingredients. That looks pretty good, and you don't want to over mix this part. So just until it's incorporated, we'll put the rest of our mixture, and this is going to be a little thick, so don't worry about that. Once we add the egg whites, it's going to thin it out a little bit. Add the rest of our dry. That's looking pretty good. We're just going to do this last part right here to press it all down. And you can already see it's a pretty thick cake here. And just scrape all the sides. Oops. Sorry guys, smacked you there. All right. Do it a little quicker just to finish up that last little part. Perfect. So now we're going to take all of this off, and we're going to come back and mix our egg whites. All right, guys, so that's the batter. We're going to go ahead and add our egg whites. And at this point, if you want to use different kinds of flavorings, this is where I add banana and walnuts, chocolates, cocoa powder. You can mix in kind of anything, confetti, if you want to do any other types of flavors. This one's going to be our classic strawberry, that one at the Taste of Texas Hemp Cup. So I'm just going to gently fold all of this in and keep the original vanilla flavor of cake for this one. And that's usually what you'll see as like a classic tres leches, is it's just a vanilla cake that's soaked in milk. So this is going to be a classic one with some strawberries. Now this one does have 3 infusions. We infuse the oil, the butter, and the milk. But for this one, I used regular butter because I'm going to substitute the 3rd infusion for some gas station sugar in the strawberries. So that'll be our 3rd infusion for this one. All right, so just keep folding until you don't see any big clumps anymore. And you can see how the batter is nicely come together. Just like that. It's okay if it has a couple little air bubbles in there. You can just spread them out like that. Perfect. All right, so I'll get our pans, and we are going to be pouring it into a 9x12. All right, guys, so from here, we're just going to distribute the batter evenly between these 2 pans. Now, the reason I like to bake it separately is because I do one layer that is in milk to be wet, and the other layer is completely dry. So that way you get a little bit of both instead of it being kind of too wet or too dry. It's always a perfect balance just because I do bake it separately. But you don't have to do this part. You can just skip it and go to a straight 9x12 that's a little bit deeper in pan size, and then it'll bake off just the same. That's our oven. It is preheated and ready to go. So then from here, I'm just going to make sure that it's all the way to the edges. And like I said, you don't have to do this part. This is just a little extra because I like it to be nice and even, and the whole cake to be nicely balanced between a wet and a dry cake. Mine also has a filling, so you'll see that part. Sometimes people just throw some, strawberries, mangoes, or some kind of fruit on top, but mine is actually a filling, so you'll also see that part. All right, we're going to get these in the oven and baked off. They should cook for about 33 minutes at 350 degrees. All right, guys, so while the cake bakes is now when we're going to make our filling. If you have any vegetables, or sorry, any fruit, don't put vegetables in this recipe. If you have any fruit that you're going to use in this recipe, including like mango, strawberries, or even if you need any kind of fruit and vegetable wash on the day-to-day, I highly recommend this Fit Organic. You can get this on Amazon. I'll put the link below. But it is USDA organic fruit and vegetable wash. So you put just a capful with some water and you mix it and then clean the vegetables. So I'll show you real quick what the little container looks like too. It has just a bowl, and then this is where you can put the fruit, and it does a really, really good job. So like I said, check out the link below. Highly recommend it. So we're going to be doing some strawberries today. I'm going to pick out just a few of these nice big ones. Those we'll put on top or we'll use to decorate in some kind of way. There's a lot of really nice looking ones right here. All of these smaller kind of weird looking ones, that's what we're going to use for the filling. So you're going to take this, just cut the top off and flip it upside down. Put that to the side. You can do 2 or 3 of these at a time. I'm just going to show you real quick before I put them in there. You'll take this little cutter. I really like this one because it cuts it pretty small. Cut it like that. And then once you have a couple, you're just going to take them and throw them in the bowl like that. So I'll go ahead and fill up the bowl, and then I'll show you the really nice special infusion that we're going to use on this part. All right, guys, so just like that, we cut up our strawberries. We put the big ones aside that we're going to use to top it off. Now, this is going to be some homemade cannabis sugar from the gas station, not your average gas station on the side of the road. This is a local vendor here in Houston. She does all kinds of infusions. Make sure you check out the Fruity Pebbles bar, I think, is the one that we reviewed from her. That's going to be down in the videos. It's one of the first videos I did. So super, super dope infusions from her. Check her out. We're going to take some of her sugar and just sprinkle it on there. Just like that. Smells pretty good too. But really nice consistency. No clumps. Let's see if we can get a closer look in there. Oh yeah. Really nice cannabis sugar. Now, I've tried to make cannabis sugar before. It is a little difficult for me. There might be an easier way, but I've definitely tried this and it is pretty hard. So buying it, is super convenient for somebody like me who doesn't want to spend hours making it. So shout out to gas station. Thank you for providing us with, oils and all kinds of cannabis cooking stuff. So here's our lemon juice. We're going to pour that right over there. And it's going to start extracting the strawberry juice, and it's going to make a really, really nice, like a sweet flavor. And you can leave this out at room temperature, but I'm going to go ahead and refrigerate it because the cake does have to sit overnight. But that's just going to let this kind of marry together even better the longer I let it sit. Perfect. Just like that. I'm going to cover it up. And you'll see this one on the next video for the assembly. All right, guys, this is the final part of the tres leches before we let it sit overnight. So I put the foil on the bottom just so I could flip it easier. See how easy that came off, didn't stick at all. Trying to see if I could push that in a little bit more. There we go. This one, I'm going to take it to go. We're probably going to try this at the glass lab. So I'm going to just put it in this container instead of a glass one or, one that I would sell. That's a nice one. We're going to devour this. So you're just going to poke holes all the way through. You can tell the cake is still a little warm. There's a little bit of steam on the side. And you want to get it where it's you can probably touch it without it being uncomfortably hot. If it's too hot, it's going to make the cake really, really soggy, and it's not going to set very well. If it's too cold, it won't absorb all of the milk. So you want it just like warm to the touch. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish the holes here. Let's cool down just enough where it's ready for the milk. So put that there. Now this is going to be a mixture of some non-dairy creamers, the can of milk, and then just some soy milk. So we'll take this. I like to pour it on a spoon because it will evenly distribute it a little bit better. I have more control over it. And this is about 2 cups. You can save a little in here and put it off to the side in case somebody doesn't want it to be too wet. But we're going to, for this one, I'm going to just go ahead and throw everything in there. You can already see it's getting nice and soaked. Put this on the edge right here just to make sure that side gets enough milk. You can already see it's going to soak into the cake. All right, just make sure it's nice and even all the way around. We'll cover it up, let it sit overnight, and then you will see this on the assembly. Thank you guys so much for watching part 5. This was Bake Day of our 7-part series. Be sure to subscribe to catch more shorts and other hint videos. So I'll see you guys on the next part.